Now to your voice, your vote, and Arizona now making it easier to purge some people from the early voting list. Governor Ducey signing legislation not long after a pretty tense debate in the state Senate. A lot of people reacting to this news tonight, and our political insider Nicole Valdez going in depth right now, breaking it all down.
In a state where voting by mail dominates the turnout, changing the game doesn't go unnoticed.
You know, you're telling people one thing and you're giving them something else.
So it's a real common sense reform.
It's about gaming the system.
Tuesday, just hours after the Senate passed SB 1485, Governor Ducey put pen to paper.
This bill is simple. It's all about election integrity.
The bill would throw you off the permanent early voting list, or PEVL, if you don't vote by mail in one of 4 consecutive elections. Not just the presidential, that includes primaries, local elections, and others in between.
Our system works very well. It's not broken. Why are they trying to fix it if not to try to infringe on people's ability to vote?
Voters like Ralph Quintana wonder if it's really necessary. He's a disabled veteran who's relied on mail-in voting for years and worries if his health gets in the way of voting and gets kicked off the list, he doesn't have many other options.
I wouldn't be able to stand in line like some of the people have to in Maricopa County. I would be really worried about that.
In 2020, more than 80% of votes cast were cast by mail. Nearly 1.7 million Maricopa County voters voting early and just under 3 million statewide.
And I think the voters are getting short shrift here.
Former Maricopa County Recorder ADRIAN is a Democrat, outspoken against this effort since its inception.
If you're on the permanent early vote list and that's the contract that you made with this state to have that ballot come to you permanently, then the state of Arizona should honor that.
Without the permanent in place, the list will now be called the Arizona Early Voting List. Proponents of the measure argue the list needs cleaning up. The effort, headed by Republican State Senator Michelle UGENTI-RITA, here's what she said about her bill in March.
It would make sense that we only want to send ballots to people who are participating in this voluntary system. If you're not, that's not a problem. There are other ways for you to vote, but we will remove you unless if you haven't already removed yourself.
Others that could see major impacts, Native American communities like the Navajo Nation. Its members already face a number of hurdles just to cast their ballot as is.
This is a systematic approach to disenfranchise voters, especially people of color.
Others worried about lasting consequences.
It's going to provide voters less confidence in the system. It's going to make them more fearful of politicians. And it's going to ultimately let people know that politicians care more about picking and choosing their voters than voters picking and choosing their politicians. So
House Minority Leader Representative Reginald Boulding says the new law sends the wrong message and could cost Arizonans in other areas. Boulding writing to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, asking the NFL, who has taken a strong stance against many states who've enacted similar laws, not to take it out on Arizonans and keep plans to host the 2023 Super Bowl in the Valley.
And our voters, our citizens should not have to face those economic ramifications because we have politicians not stepping up for them.
Now, to be clear, this law does not remove you from the voter registration rolls in Arizona. It'll only keep you from automatically getting a ballot in the mail if you don't use that system at least once within a 4-year period to vote. So if you don't do that, the earliest you could get kicked off of that list is 2024. But you do have options. You can always go to the polls to vote in person or just call to get back on that early voting list. In Phoenix tonight, Nicole Valdez, ABC 15, Arizona.